Thank you for staying with us, everyone. Tonight, we turn our attention to national development and the ongoing efforts to assess and evaluate infrastructure projects across the country. Joining us tonight is PDP Chieftain Segun Showunmi, known for his vocal advocacy and deep engagement in governance. Mr. Showunmi has recently embarked on inspection tours of various projects spanning different regions of Nigeria, from roads and bridges to public institutions and community development. What has he seen? What does it mean for the state of our nation, and where do we go from here? He joins us from Abuja studio to share his insights and observations. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Mr. Showunmi. Thank you.
Thank you, Olajimoke. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. So, in a country as vast and diverse as Nigeria, infrastructure remains a key pillar for national development and unity. And that's why I'm personally impressed that you did this. So what was the primary objective behind this recent inspection across Nigeria? Were these tours part of a personal initiative or party-driven assessment, being a member of the opposition party?
Okay, well, thank you very much. Let me put some context to it. I was in a salon somewhere around Asokoro, and as they barbed my hair, I had a lot of young people, quite a lot of energy. And they kept saying, oh, the Maraba Road, and they had so much to say about the Maraba Road. And then as I listened in, I first of all tried to figure out, is that Abuja Road, or is it Federal Road, or is it Nasarawa Road? From their vibes, I realized that it's a federal road. So I then said, okay, maybe what I should do is I just ask the minister, if young people want this road so badly, it impacts their life so much, they complain about how long it takes them to get to their hustle. I then sent a message, Honorable Minister, sir, can I give you a feedback and have a conversation with you about a road? In this country where the ministers, especially of this administration, are so conceited, arrogant, speaks down at people, rude, excessively combative. He phoned me back and said, I'm on my way out of Abuja. Do you mind coming? Let's have this conversation on Tuesday. So I said, oh, that's incredible. You mean people pick phones in Bola Tinubu's government and act so fast? Anyway, I dropped it off, and then he then sent a text and said, can we do something even better? I tried to listen, and he said, why don't you've been talking to me, you've been screaming about Sokoto Badagry. You know that Sokoto Badagry has been on the banner for 46 years, and it cuts through a lot of our own state, my state Ogun, especially the Yewa-Awori corridor all the way to Badagry. And I know the implication of that for Agri, and also through quite a lot of states. So he said, we'll go to Sokoto Badagry sometime, but why don't you come and look at the coastal road in Lagos? I said, well, we can do that, And then he said, why don't you come with three people that you know that they love Nigeria, but they're not pushovers, they're experienced people, and let them come and take a look at it. Let's even have that dialogue. So I said, okay, this is not a bad idea, and then that's it. I called 3 top-level professionals. I called Yemi Kolakbo of The Point, former business editor of The Punch newspaper. So you have an idea of what kind of capacity we're talking about in that regard. I called Femi Awoyemi of ProShare. Femi Awoyemi is one of those people who does a lot of conversation, communication, especially as it concerns the economy, the money, the banks, bonds, and stuff like that. And then I called Sheye Kehinde Egbon because I felt, okay, well, if we've seen everything, it's okay for us to be theoretical and verbose about it. What about we get someone that can be a bit stylized and break it down to normal people who could do, and then that's it. We got to Lagos. First impression was that Minister Dave Mahi, I don't know how you do it, but he's so relatable and he has a lot of people skills. Cut out the chase, we flew into the location. You have to be proud that at last people with the eyes of vision can see, can build, can plan, can execute are building that road. We started from the Lagos end. The scale of it, the breadth, it was just awesome. Then I started asking the kind of opposition Segun Showunmi question. Question number 1, why are you doing it with concrete and not asphalt? Answer, because we have been building with asphalt and we came to always go back after 10 or 15 years, if it lasts that long. With concrete, it's going to stay for 100 years. So once we build it, it's built. Tick. I moved forward a little bit, then I said, okay, are you sure it's going to stay? Because look at the ocean and the raging. We got to a point, we climbed up so high to see the depth of the piling that was done and the kind of stabilization of the retainer wall. And then I looked to the contractors, that's High Tech, and their manager was there, the MD. I said, would this last? Would this last? You know the way Lagos can be hit by water of the ocean all the time. He answered, I said, well, we did the Eco-Atlantic, and the United States of America is building the most expensive, biggest outside America embassy there. If it doesn't have the right environmental impact assessment, they wouldn't take that kind of investment risk. It's very stable. What we're doing here will be very stable. Then I looked again after some time. I said, why are you using this kind of big rods? Because the metal work that was in it was much. I said, well, we're calling it a road, but it's actually like we're laying a layer of bridge all over the place. Then we went further. I said, why does the road split at some point in time? Because, you know, it's going like 6 lane, and then at a point you see 2, 3 here, and there's a big... I said, well, we have to redesign to save as many of the built-up areas and people's houses, but it cost at great cost. I said, like, what extra cost? Is not the same road? He said, oh, there was a point there where we had to dig more than 10 meters of refuse because they had been used as a dump to take it all out, to recompact, to fill it up. I knew that these were not jokers. Then we got to a point, I said, there's this woman that is yapping about that you people have destroyed $250 million, and there's this other resort that is screaming a lot that you destroyed their resort. I said, well, for that other one, I can't remember their names now, the resort guy, that we actually realigned it to avoid his place. And then he said, for the other one, when we get there, you see, when we got to the place, we all came down. I went there, we took the media, we took everybody, said, okay, let's try and look. You know, we are in a serious situation and a serious dilemma in this country, and we all have to maybe like sleep and reflect on it. Are we going to create a scenario in Nigeria now that people will sit on social media and bully government from being able to work, or just build all sorts of annoying conversation, run riots with it all over the world without even a care for the reputation and the integrity of the country? There was nothing there. There was absolutely nothing there. There was nothing that can make you say, wow, this is what they're doing here. And I said, how much did they say? $250 million. And I flipped. I said, well, what's the median between the road and that place? They were in breach. 2, do they not know the Land Use Act and what it says? Okay, who even sold this land to them? The quantum of land they claimed they bought for $50 million was just beyond disgraceful. So I said to myself, no, we can't continue like this. The best thing we should do is take her to court. Probably she's scam people abroad so they can say that the Nigerian government is not part of that. And if she's trying to be funny, she can come and justify and give evidence of where she put $250 million, which account it came through, what did she buy with it, and what did she do? She had a bit of pile. That was just a mess. Leave that. Then we ran further. I then started asking, okay, guys, where are you guys are doing this Lagos end? What about the others? They had commenced the Ondo end. They had commenced the Calabar end. They had commenced the Edo end. So I then asked another question. You are talking about the coast. I see this coast. What about the Southeast? What about the Igbos? Are we going to be running this country in a Nigeria that we're excluding them? Would they get linked in? What are we giving them? The minister said, okay, we're doing a lot of things there. We're going to link it that they can come, that will do a linkage that brings them onto that big road. But over and above my asking to go and see Lagos Road, I'm going to plead with you to come with me to Edo, come with me to Enugu, and come with me to Abia. Hey! All right. If any Nigerian does not understand...
Mr. Showunmi, thank you for that.
Can I land my thoughts?
All right, please go ahead.
If any Nigerian does not understand that angels don't build roads, citizens and leaders build, and that every generation builds and passes it on to the next. If Babafemi Awolowo and Co did not build the roads that they built and the things they built. If Okpara did not build what he built, if Tafawa did not build what he built, I'm not even sure we'll have a country called our own. So these people are building. All of the issues about anger, irritation, unnecessary innuendos, you've not even got there to look at it. But I can tell you for free, I can't wait for that project to come on stream. It also has trains on it. In the middle of that road, they've also accommodated the possibility to move people almost by rapid transfer, you know. So it's like a multimodal transportation initiative.
All right.
And we'll likely have all of the shoulders as our own Dubai for our waterfront. I am extremely excited. I'm happy.
All right, thank you for that. And like I said earlier, I'm personally happy that you had to do this. So you saw the Lagos-Calabar Road project, and from what I got from your tweet as well, you saw other projects in Edo and some parts of the eastern region. Did you find any cases of abandoned or underperforming projects? Were there any projects that exceeded your expectations in terms of implementation and impact?
Okay, let's take Edo. Oh God, this country. When I was going through the Edo one, I actually thought that when I get to Edo, because of all of the too much, you know, insisting that people must talk the way you talk or look the way you look or act the way you act, I thought that I was going to meet nothing. I met the governor doing a 25-span bridge, which is huge by any definition. And then we drove all the way to the Isha section of it, where you have, what's the name of that place now, where the former Minister of Works 2 times Anini comes from. The road was so bad. I saw the kinds of things that they were trying to do. I saw the infrastructure they were laying. I saw the way Edo will painfully and happily, painful to those who think that nothing good can come out of El Dorado, they will be shocked that they will be almost find a governor in that place that will be unmatched in terms of commitment to the people, infrastructure development, his ideas on education, and a perfect synergy with the federal government. The one that blew me over was Abia. If anybody sits in Nigeria and says people hate the federal government of Nigeria, that is a joker. I have never seen a people in this world, and I mean it with every sense of responsibility, cross my heart, hope to die, that were so enthused, so happy, so appreciative of development when I saw that Port Harcourt road. People were jumping, people were running, people were splashing water for hours. I busted into prayers. Oh God, please preserve Aba. Oh God, please preserve this, because I saw appreciation on a level that was so organic and infectious. I saw their road. And guess what I saw again? We then drove from the Aba road, taking the Port Harcourt road, going to Enugu. I started screaming in the car. Southeast has better roads than Southwest in federal roads. You have better federal roads than us. People just complain, but our own roads are not even this good. The longest road we have, which is Lagos, Ibadan, is not even as... Bottom line is that the whole of Nigeria is working. I got to Enugu, I found them doing about 2 bridges. One of them was so massive, 23 span on 2 ways, dual carriage. I saw another one that was running almost in front of the army barracks. Look, I saw people in Enugu, the market, just on the base of the inspection of the bridge. I saw them jumping and shaking. We had to come down from the bridge and walk in their midst just to be able to feel them. Bottom line, this country is ours, belongs to all of us. We run a 4-year cycle for politics. In that 4-year cycle, we'll do an election. After that election, we'll run government. And then we'll come back to the 4-year cycle. We cannot be childish and insensitive to what we see happening the world over. All the nations of the world are taking their own destinies in their hands. America is saying they are for America and they don't want to be global leader of anybody. England is saying they're going to start deporting about 150,000 people because everybody is saying they want to be about their country. Shall we now say that because we're a democracy now, our own country will not be developed? Or what shall we tell the next generation of people that we used our time for? We've been in this democracy now for 26, 27 years. If we can just agree that after election we should build consensus around development, and if there are issues we need to call them, we'll call them on that. But if there are issues that would outlast even the people building it today, we need to tell them, build it fast, develop it quickly. Angels didn't build Dubai. Nigerians have to go to build Nigeria. At a point, I asked the minister, I said, sir, I'm seeing all these expatriates. Well, are there no Nigerian builders? He said, well, we're doing them and we're scaling them up. When I got to Enugu, I saw the thing that was being done by Nigerian contractors. Look, on behalf of all of us, I ask all the right questions. The only thing I don't do is that I don't join a gang of people who are so unpatriotic, who just wake up in the morning, they want to be abusing themselves, they want to be instigating hate among the tribes, they want to see no good in their country, they are not interested in research, they don't want to find out how things are done, they just sit down one spot just screaming and shouting and pretending as if their stupid words is going to develop a nation. Time is the essence of things that we have to deal with. And within time, we must also maximize development. We must come together for the things that are important.
Absolutely.
The world is not going to wait for us. And we too should stand up and say, Nigeria is here. We're ready to develop.
Right. And while you express yourself, Mr. Showunmi, please let's be mindful of the languages we use on air. Right. So let's take a break at this moment. And when we return, we'll continue this conversation. Please stay with us, everyone. PDP Chieftain Segun Showunmi is on the program with me tonight. He has recently embarked on inspection tours of various projects across the country and is on the program tonight to share his insights and observations. Thank you very much for staying with us on the program, Mr. Showunmi. So you have tweeted that...
Thank you, Jumoke.
Right. So you've tweeted that the Lagos-Calabar Road is more than a project. You say it is a declaration that Nigeria, when determined, can match vision with execution. But critics argue that this project is not a priority, given Nigeria's economic challenges. First, what's your take? Then also there's been criticism about the transparency of the project's awarding and funding. Did you find any clarity on that during your visit? Okay, thank you. I hear people say it's not a priority. You know, I get the impression that people actually, they instigate their followers to believe that a nation is run on only one line item. Maybe the one line item is that they'll gather them into a room and share the money for them and they'll start eating it, or that the states will not build their road, or local government will not pull their weight, or that the federal government has enough resources. Even if he had the money, if he could raise the money, he has enough manpower to build all the roads in Nigeria in one day. I don't buy that. What I see in terms of people saying that's all, is that all we're going to do? There are other things going on. I'm not a spokesperson of their government. There are areas where I can bring them out to criticize them very harshly on. But what we're talking about today is my experience on a 7-day journey going around Nigeria on roads. And I can tell you for free, if they continue and they stay focused, nobody would have done more infrastructure than them by miles. Keep that aside. You asked me a question of the integrity and the money of the project. Listen. People must learn that they should not be punching above their weight. Most of the people even talk about this money thing around project. Ask them, do they even know how to do the quantity evaluation of the cost of project? This is a coastal road. The coastal road has been designed. You hear some figures in naira or in dollars, you start going berserk. Have you asked the Dubais, other people, how much they're doing their coastal road? Has anybody told you that in the last, how many years, 65 years, one government will come, have they left you with money? Has it not always been that you have to be creative, you have to find the financial model, you have to find what is consistent, you have to find the expertise, you have to find the material. It depends on what you're building. The one that wants to build a thatch house or a patch road that would get destroyed in 3 weeks can't be asking me about figures. I think that what I asked, when I asked the question on the figures, they told me that our roads, that particular coastal road is built a bit cheaper than most of the other coastal roads. Do I know for sure whether they are right or wrong? It's not a conversation on the table. The conversation on the table is that get the project done, finish building it, run your government. When you are done, we'll take a look at the books. If we find anything that you have done, we'll bring in some consequence. But we cannot tie ourselves down because of our glamorization of anti-corruption to such a point that everywhere you look, even if they do it well, you say, hey, it's too expensive. If they don't do it, you say they are eating the money. That can't be the way to run a nation. And I can tell you for free, you cannot do good investment without bringing infrastructure. If Aliko Dangote had built the refinery and there was no road to take out the goods,
What's the point? So every investment needs infrastructure.
But would you
impacts
say the federal government?
GDP impacts poverty. Poverty impacts money. If you even look at the value chain, the people that are working there, the people that are doing trailers, the people that are supplying material, the people that owns the stone. If people have always said, even if your economy is in recession, the best way to put money in the hands of people, real money in their hand, is by construction. If you don't want to participate, if you are not interested in contributing anything, government is not designed, at least not the federal government of Nigeria, since inception, has never been designed to sit in your house and come and dash you money. You got to be creating value. And Nigeria is doing well. Those who are interested in making money and riding the wave, they're making it. The banks, all the banks in Nigeria, for the first time in their life, they posted more than ₦1 trillion. Do you know what that means? Do you really know what that means to be posting ₦1 trillion returns? So I know that it's not 100%, the glass is not full. But what I will not accept for anybody is that to say the glass is empty. And what I wanted to check is that I hope they are not leaving any part of the country behind. I am completely satisfied. I even think that the Southeasterners have better federal roads than us. Because I did a close look at the Southwestern roads. Lagos is bad, there's nothing to write them about. Shagamu to Benin is not, it needs to be fixed. The one from Ibadan to Ife needs to be fixed. The one from Ife to Akure needs to be fixed. So when people scream and shout, the one from Port Harcourt Road is a beautiful road, really, really good road. And it's well done, it's running well. They are doing the other side too, they're running it well. It's a very, very long road. We don't even have that level of kilometers of road.
I get you, Mr. Showunmi.
I know for the fact that they're doing the Sokoto Badagry. So we got balance. We got good roads. Infrastructure is one. Every other area will have to pull their weight. Agric should pull his weight. Other people should pull their weight, but infrastructure is pulling his weight.
Right, and I think you've made a fair point. But for the purpose of those who are still skeptical about the cost of this project, would you say the federal government has communicated enough with the public about the project's scope and funding?
The one that wants to walk and the ones that want to talk are two different people. The one that wants to talk will spend all his time talking, and they won't walk. The one that wants to walk will sometimes talk and sometimes busy itself with work. What they're doing is that perhaps they are communicating above the heads of the people in terms of, overall feel of government and its money. But to do that, that's not what I've come to teach them or come to discuss. What I have come to discuss is simply and very narrowly that, one, when those that are appointed by government normalize the idea that they are serving the people and carry themselves with the idea that being good ambassadors of their principal adds to the overall wellness of the country, better for them. We know people who say they are performing, that all they do is just insult our parents and talk to people in a very disrespectful and rude manner and cause the problem even much more than they think they are adding. So bottom line is a good experience. My friends Femi is very, very big on finance. He asked some of the questions about it, and I remember at that point he told him that when we finish one section, in IFC, the National Finance Corporation comes and take a look at it and give us money and that order. And you all know that IFC is a very, very serious organization. They don't monkey about with due process. And I know that we asked questions on impact assessment, whether it will, be good for the environment. And we are told very clearly, at the point we climbed to see the level of boulders that was used to. It's almost as if we are doing a breakwater, really. It's a solid project. What I would just want all Nigerians to do is to pray that they hurry up with it, so that we can then start getting the full benefit, and that they don't rest on their house from that one to the next, from that one to the next, and let the governors who are getting a whole lot more money than they were ever getting before, let them scale up development too. All of the roads you see, some of them are state roads, some of them are local government roads. Everybody has to be busy. Nigeria has to be a very busy construction site. Us using the best models of ourselves, but most importantly, representing our country well, speaking up for our nation, pushing the agenda of our country and wishing it well. We can't relinquish our country to people who see no evil, hear no evil, feel no evil, see no good about the country. This is a country that must, as a matter of fact, stand up and say, other nations are standing up. Now we have risen. And the giant has risen. Now the giant must take giant stride in development. And that really is what it is all about.
And interestingly, everything you said tonight reminded me of the president's speech on the 1st of October. It says the administration is expanding transport infrastructure across the country. He talked about rail and water transport growing by over 40% and 27% respectively. He talked about the 284-kilometer Kano-Katsina-Maradi standard gauge rail project and the Kaduna-Kano rail line are nearing completion. He talked about this legacy Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway and Sokoto-Badagry Highway. And I remember the president also saying the Federal Executive Council recently approved $3 billion to complete the Eastern Rail project. From your own view, or your viewpoints, are we seeing a strategic long-term plan or just scattered projects? In your view, Mr. Showunmi, is the government prioritizing the right sectors?
You know, if you had been in Lagos in 1998, I came back from Europe. I started coming to Nigeria because of democracy. I live in Abeokuta. That's where I live permanently. Because Lagos, for me, was just crazy. It didn't just make sense. Lekki and the whole thing didn't make sense. The mainland didn't make sense because of the transportation architecture. And 26 years down the line, I can see them doing a boat race in Lagos. They're doing cycling race in Lagos. They're doing a lot of things. The built-up environment has been stabilized. They are struggling to make it urban renewal. And I believe that there is a certain type of vision that drives development. One thing you cannot take away from him, that is the president. You can't take away the audacity of vision. Would we be able to achieve all? Well, I would just say, ordinarily, they should refix and rejig how they prioritize release of funds to agencies and ministries so that every person that is a minister that has a job to do has no excuse that is not getting funding. But having said that, I think that we will not do them any favors. We will not pity them on deliverables because there is there's a gestation time between a design and the completion. Our duty is to be encouraging them to check that they are on site, to see whether contractors have abandoned site. We've asked questions about giving it to local contractors as well. We've asked about how they're going to ensure that the thing moves well. Remember that with construction too, you have to worry about the seasons. When it is raining, you can do very little. When there's dry season, you can do more. Look, I think that I would just say we've been here forever, and there's nobody that is talking in the country, either as former president, former vice president, former this, former governor, former that can say he's more invested in this country than me. That's a lie. But that's not what we want to talk about here today. What I would just say is that we must give ourselves a chance at working what we are on now. Every rider on the horse must ride very fast and very efficiently on behalf of all of us. And whenever the time comes that you have to pass the baton, which we do via elections, you should be passing the baton knowing fully well that they're not going to say they're not going to continue project. Because if you look at our country and take all the monies we've put into project, corruption and all of that aside, one of the biggest undoing of our nation has been our inability to continue project. One of the things that have made Lagos to seem to be doing very well and maybe making all of us happy now is that they have had a reasonable level of continuity. That was why when I listened to the president's broadcast on Independence Day, my conclusion was, okay, we have turned the corner. Now we must stay the course. And for that, it means that let us finish everything that we put our hands on. The one that is meant to last for 3 years, we can scale it up. China is always my example when it comes to construction. Every time China comes with a big project, the world leaders and all the Americans and Europeans will start saying, oh, China cannot finish this in 10 years. It cannot be done. They cannot find the money. But guess what happened? All of the time and every time, China always finishes it before time. There's nothing the Chinese can do that the Africans cannot do. If only we motivate ourselves and we agree that we're going to join hands together to push our country. And when people ask me, well, are you in PDP, are you in APC? That's a very unreasonable question. The most important thing is that political parties do not represent the entire country. A nation belongs to all of the people there, including even the naysayers. Political parties are for those that have the responsibility to manage them and their narrative. But for those of us that are citizens who have been begging, wailing, praying, wishing, desiring that our country to begin to make us proud as the most populous black nation in the world, I have to say, okay, Ashaju, take your flowers.
All right then. So, I mean, if we all agree that this gap in infrastructure development has, adversely affected Nigeria's growth trajectory, how do we address this going forward?
How do you address which one, please? I didn't hear you.
I mean, if you have all agreed that this gap in infrastructure development has adversely affected Nigeria's growth, how do we address these challenges going forward?
Yeah, thank you very much. Brilliant question. That's why I've been pleading, and that's part of the reason why you see me do this, that we must build consensus around development. You see, if we build consensus around development, if we allow science to investigate our fact so that our fact now drives our truth. Let me repeat. If we allow science to investigate our fact so facts can drive our truth, and we're building consensus around development, you know what we're going to find out? We're going to find out that we're all playing to the same harmony. And the people that will be the beneficiary of it will be our people. If there be one advice I want to lay on the table, the advice is very simple. A nation, no matter who is leading it, must always remember the weakest in the country is the one that needs to be prioritized. And in that regard, you need to beg governors, you need to beg local government chairmen. You need to let them understand there is no greater responsibility when you have been given authority than immortalization. You cannot immortalize yourself by being a petty thief, taking things that you don't need, buying things that you don't want. Only senseless people buy limousines and Rolls Royce when they don't even have parties to go to that requires a Rolls Royce and a limousine. We need to get away from this gluttonous way and look at our people at the local government and at the state level. And of course, federal government policies, with due respect, I can't see what policy I would say he didn't intend to help the Nigerian nation and the Nigerian citizens, at least for now. I can't see. Is it the removal of subsidy? It will be madness to be burning money that you don't have. Is it the exchange rate? How would you have allowed a scenario where people sit down in their room, order forex, take it to the black market and make money at the expense of everybody and even at the expense of the country? Some of them, like Dangote, are plowing money into construction of the country. What about the ones that are carrying all their money and just going on holiday in Monaco? What kind of sensible president who wants to leave an impact will allow that? Do you even have the money? In terms of infrastructure, I've not seen anybody being cheated. I was very demanding of what's going on in the South because obviously if you listen to the rhetoric, it may seem like they are not getting served. And I just told you, I have not seen any set of people that were very energetic, very appreciative, very happy about development when I saw the Aba-Port Harcourt road and the way our friends and our brothers and our kids and kin that are in that area were jubilating. I can guarantee you, if anyone tries to say he's going to beat Governor Oti in the election, he can just die that idea. It's done. Because I looked for what I was supposed to look for. I went out on my own. I left them in their sleeping rooms and I still went out to go and see and get a feel of the people. You see, you have to go around the country to love the country. The market in Aba is so huge, it's scary. And when I was saying, this market is, oh, Oga Segun, you have not seen market, go to Ariara. Why would you not want the whole of Nigeria to work? Why would you not want us to be a harmonious symphony that's playing different keys but to the same music? You people that are in charge of the media, those of you that have bylines, you have a duty. Your duty is not to give people the impression that nothing good's working in your country. You know why? Other countries are going through wars. What do you think people in Ukraine are doing? What do you think people in Gaza are doing? What do you think the Israelis are doing? You think they're sitting on social media every day insulting their country and insulting themselves? Nigeria will happen to you. Of course, let Nigeria happen to me. Nigeria is a beautiful country and I want it to happen to me. I want it to happen to my kids. I want it to happen to all of us. But hey, there's time for politics. There's time for development. And if I don't change my mind with my platform, in the next couple of months when we start politics, of course, we'll bring the underbellies of the APC and we'll box them very hard on that. But hey, it's always for the greater good of everybody. Politics for me and opposition for me is having a conversation that all of us can have dialogue on ideology, on style, on alternative viewpoints and all of that. But you can't sit in one corner and just be instigating young people and making them hate themselves and hate their country. If they were to be driven from Nigeria, which other country will accept them? Did you not just hear the leader of the Conservative in England Kemi Badenoch says there's going to start writing a scenario where they'll be deporting 150,000 people every year. Who's going to be the majority of those? After the ones they don't like, of course, it will be the Africans. And when they start deporting Africans, where do you think they're deporting them to? Of course, you know it will be Nigeria. So we need to be serious now. We need to know that the time for allowing some funny characters who are over-recycled, calling themselves opposition, calling themselves the bringer of new ideas, to be disturbing the country is over. Yes, it's not perfect, but hey. It's a whole lot more beautiful than what we've ever seen in our country, at least what I have ever seen.
Thank you for that, Mr. Showunmi. But also related to this conversation is that there's been, increasing conversation about the federal government shouldering too much responsibility for road infrastructure. Do you agree?
I am always worried about the fact that even this whole concept of federal road is a little bit too big. I prefer a situation where the federal government does not have more than 1 or 2 roads in every state and just give the state and their people the remaining. In any case, they have a regional development framework now, which all the states have, which all the regions have. I know the president has given them that Southwest has, Southeast has, South has, everybody has. Give those other roads in between their towns to them. So they back it up with their money and hope and pray that they will go and fix it. So that the ones who fix the road, at least their neighbors can see that they fix their own. But if the federal government is going to be the one that is working hard in the country, will be the one looking for education, will be the one looking for health, will be the one looking for road. Hey, it's like insisting that everybody in the country can be on holiday, and the only human being that is going to be under burden is the president. And if you do that, whether it is this president or the last president or even a future president like me, you're going to be hurting us, because at the end of the day, when you don't encourage people when they are walking, they can always remove their leg from the pedal, and what the hell are you going to really do about it? Nothing.
I want to take you up on this Maraba-Abuja highway, which has been a nightmare for commuters for so many years. What are your thoughts on the current state of the road? I mean, there's been talk of expanding, rehabilitating the highway. What are your expectations from such a project?
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. You know, that was the road that led me into going around the other road. So it was never off the table. When I asked, the minister said, there's a term they use, I'm not in ESCO, that the president has just maybe given them the approval or whatever to go and come up with that. You know what I mean? You know, for you to build anything as a minister in this country, you have to prepare the document, you have to do the engineering design, then you have to get approval, you have to take it to FEC, they have to sign it for you, then you have to find the money, then you have to do competitive bidding, then you have to put contractors. When I saw the way the minister was screaming on contractors, I kept asking him, is this how hard this work is? Are you not even, do you ever rest? Are you not going to have a heart attack? Because you could tell, of course, as an engineer, he was like a fish in the Atlantic Ocean when he was trying to tell them to hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, or I will terminate, hurry up, hurry up. So I think that the Maraba Road has come onto the burner. To the best of my knowledge, what he said, I'm not in the ESCO, that road now, the federal government, the president has now put it, where it's supposed to be, which is that go figure out what you're going to do with it quickly. And I'm sure he knows that has to happen very, very fast. I pray you all have to also remember, Nigerians, remember, stop deceiving yourself that we're a rich country. We're not. They played us a lot of bobo in thinking that we have all the monies in the world. And so I laugh when I see people say, why is the government taking loans? Why is the government taking loans? One of the things I'll say very quickly is that if you don't have loans, you can't even build infrastructure at the rate you need to build it. Once you pay salary, do this, do that, it's all gone. And if you take a loan, you can then, tie it to the present level of inflation, build it at the cost of today, close it up and get it done. If you don't, it gets more expensive next year, next year, next year. That's that. If there be anything I wanted to give the whole experience, after all said and done, what could I say to the federal government and maybe President Bola Tinubu? I would just say that our people are kind. Nigerians are nice people. All they want is to be served. I know you say, I've also said you are doing a bit, but what I want to suggest is that, can you just tell your aides, your ministers and all that it's a little bit offensive for you to be living like you inherited Solomon when the people are not really having it easy. And can you please just supervise your governors more? Some of the governors are pulling their weight. Some are just joking about. There's no part of this country today that should not be busy. And you can't be busy having talk shop like most of our friends in the North are just doing. Seminar today, seminar tomorrow, seminar today, seminar tomorrow. As if what needs to be done is not clear. You need to fix human capital development. You need to look at population and you need to figure out how to ensure that you can kind of like slow down the procreation at the level that is not even making sense to you and shouldn't make sense even to you. You need to figure out what you're going to be doing so that the people, the mass of our people can say, okay, because of the state government, I got this. Because of the local government, I got this. And then the federal government can list their own on it. Nigeria has truly turned the corner. I'm just hoping and believing and praying that we can stay the course. And the one who owns the heavens and the earth, our self-same God, will help us to stay the course.
All right. So before I let you go, Mr. Showunmi, do you plan to make these inspection tours a recurring exercise?
Well, thank you very much. You know, what I try to tell the minister, and I hope he listens, is that you can't be, because infrastructure is all over. If people don't see it, they won't know. Sometimes you have built a fantastic road, people have not gone there because people don't even go out a lot. So I think that the best thing I am suggesting to him is let us create a particular platform where the conversation is just infrastructure, infrastructure, infrastructure. Because we will never have enough of it. And then let him find a way to have like a standing group where we can be bringing different people to go and look at different, so we can have more third-party advocacy. I don't have time for his APC, is this, is that. These politicians are not that stable. Those of us that have been in parties, I've been in PDP since 98. I'm in a hurry for development now. I haven't got the time for people that are not even sure. If we go to the next election, if God helps us to organize ourselves, if we get out of our dead horse scenario, we'll be able to see. But if we cannot see, who's going to sit down in a sinking ship like the president said? And where do you want to go? So if you don't want to go, I've created the alternative movement. And I've told everybody, just be the best version of where you are. Be the best version of APC. Be the best version of PDP. And be the best version of Showunmi. Because I think Showunmi even has more value in my eyes than those people calling themselves ADC. Because I can't see how people can insist that their own life story is to be jumping from one party to the other every 4 years. Right. That's so annoying. And I would have loved for us to talk about the alternative. So maybe the third leg in opposition after PDP now is Showunmi for me. And I would have loved for us to talk about... As annoying as it can be sometimes. Showunmi, I would have loved for us to talk about the alternative, but sadly we're out of time. But I'm sure we'll have that conversation some other time. Thank you so much for speaking with us. I'm very sure Nigerians appreciate your honesty and patriotism. I mean, at the end of the day, this is what opposition politics is all about. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Thank you. Absolutely. Have a great evening. Bye. Thank you. You too. And thank you very much for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But before we go, let's tell you that the views and reactions of our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Meanwhile, you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at 12:30 a.m. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News NG. I'm Olajumoke Olatunji. Good night, everyone. I'll see you again tomorrow.